Imagine driving a brand new car today only to discover 5 years from now that the company behind the badge no longer exists. The service centers are gone, parts cost a fortune, and resale value drops like a stone. It sounds extreme, yet 8 household name automakers are speeding toward that exact cliff. Their sales have cratered, their executives are scrambling, and tariffs or technology gaps threaten to finish the job. Stay till we hit number 1. Its downfall will flat out shock you. Maserati, the exotic badge losing its shine. Maserati was once shorthand for continental glamour, yet in a single year, global deliveries slid from 26,000 to barely 11,000, a jaw-dropping 57% nosedive. That collapse erased profit and dug a $260 million crater in Stellantis' balance sheet. Why are buyers fleeing? First, durability gremlins, electrical glitches, shuddering transmissions, and warning lights that feel almost hardwired keep the brand near the bottom of reliability studies. Second, resale horror stories drain confidence. A Levante SUV can hemorrhage 3/4 of its sticker price in 5 years, worse than many economy cars. Finally, competitors have raised the bar. A Porsche Macan now outclasses a Grecale on tech, range, and brand equity, while Mercedes and BMW flood showrooms with EVs that make Maserati's lone GranTurismo Folgore look like a half measure. Inside Stellantis headquarters, the directive is blunt: make money or face the guillotine. Executives whisper about finding the best home for Maserati, a phrase that often means sale or shutdown. If an Italian icon can bleed cash this quickly, imagine how brittle other luxury names might be. And that takes us across the channel to a cat that has almost run out of lives. Jaguar, a roar turned whisper. Jaguar once lured buyers with silk-smooth straight-six engines and Le Mans pedigree. Today it has one model on sale worldwide, the aging F-Pace SUV, and an audacious promise to relaunch as a hyper-luxury electric brand in 2026. That means an entire year, possibly more, with no fresh sheet metal, no showroom buzz, and almost no revenue. The numbers sting. Global sales fell from 180,000 in 2018 to 33,000 last year, an 82% implosion. In the United States, Jaguar's share is 0.06%, literally a rounding error. Dealers across America now shutter or convert to Land Rover service centers, unwilling to wait for six-figure electric grand tourers that may never clear tariff hurdles. Range anxiety killed the once-hyped I-Pace, software snags hurt the XF and XE sedans, and the gorgeous F-Type bows out without a true successor. Jaguar promises it will return with 3 electric halo cars priced to challenge Bentley, yet while the cat hibernates, Tesla, BMW, and Mercedes cultivate buyers who may never look back. If Jaguar's gamble misfires, its Leaper logo could become a museum piece. But at least Jaguar has a plan. The next brand relies on beauty alone, and beauty fades when the ignition won't turn over. Alfa Romeo, style without stability. Alfa Romeo sells passion in sheet metal form, yet passion alone no longer pays the bills. U.S. sales slid from almost 24,000 in 2018 to under 9,000 last year. Owners rave about the sculpted fenders, then warn about coolant leaks at 3,000 miles and suspension failures before 40,000. Recalls cover everything from fuel system fires to faulty airbags, and internet forums overflow with stories of tow trucks and delayed parts. Stellantis has pulled Alfa's wild quadrifolio variants from showrooms, thinning a lineup already ignored by cross-shopping BMW or Audi customers. Even Mazda's CX-5 sometimes outsells the entire Alfa brand in a single state. When dealerships must talk buyers past a reputation for headaches, the uphill climb feels Everest steep. Beauty catches the eye, but reliability closes the deal, and Alfa's deal sheet is blank. If an Italian marquis steeped in motorsport can't win on the road or the spreadsheet, what hope does a pint-sized British brand have after abandoning its own core identity? Mini. Bigger cars, smaller crowd. Mini's cheeky hatchback once owned the city car spotlight. Yet as the models swelled in size, price, and curb weight, the charm evaporated. U.S. sales fell 21% last year to 26,000, far below the 76,000 high mark of 2012. Inventory tells an uglier story. The new Countryman SUV sits nearly 200 days on dealer lots, a neon sign that demand has stalled. A mistimed refresh in 2024 arrived alongside a brand-wide braking recall. BMW canceled the electric Cooper convertible, and insiders question how long Munich will subsidize a brand that can't decide whether it sells premium hatchbacks or economy crossovers. In the market middle ground, too pricey for budget shoppers, not plush enough for luxury converts, Mini risks fading into irrelevance, the automotive equivalent of a novelty t-shirt that stopped being funny. And if that once quirky label is wobbling, imagine the peril facing a Detroit veteran that now sells almost nothing but minivans. Chrysler, the century-old survival test. In 2005, Chrysler moved nearly 650,000 vehicles across 7 nameplates. Last year, it logged roughly 125,000, an 80% free fall. Its showroom now contains exactly 2 minivans, the aging Pacifica and the fleet-only Voyager. The beloved 300 sedan is gone, the Airflow EV died before launch, and internal chatter at Stellantis suggests Chrysler could meet the axe if results stall. Reliability ranks at the bottom of J.D. Power studies, warranty battles go viral on TikTok, and repeated production pauses hint at a troubled supply chain. While Toyota and Kia prep hybrid and electric vans, Chrysler clings to a 2016 platform with dated software. Turning 100 years old in 2025 should be a celebration. Instead, it may mark the final chapter. But Chrysler at least still moves 6 figures of metal. Our next brand killed its bestseller and left dealers staring at empty pavement. Mitsubishi, the showroom with no cars. Once the poster child for rally-bred excitement, Mitsubishi now sells fewer than 110,000 cars a year in the United States, less than Toyota sells every 10 days. Worse, it just axed the Mirage, the compact that generated a majority of its U.S. volume. Walk into one of 300 remaining franchises and you might find a solitary Outlander or an aging Eclipse Cross gathering dust. A 25% sales bump in 2024 looked promising until analysts pointed out that Toyota moves that many units in a weekend. Without a competitive small car or a headline-grabbing electric strategy, Mitsubishi risks extinction. If the Outlander falters, dealers will have nothing left to sell. And speaking of tiny numbers, our next subject's annual tally barely beats a single day at Toyota, yet it once dreamed of conquering America's streets. Fiat, the Italian comeback that never came. Fiat re-entered the U.S. market in 2011 to great fanfare, peaking at 46,000 sales 3 years later. By 2024, the count shrank to 1,500. Yes, 1,500, while Toyota averaged nearly 7,000 sales per day. Consumer Reports places Fiat near the basement for dependability, and tiny hatchbacks line up poorly against America's SUV obsession. Worse, the brand never cemented a dealer network or a clear identity. Was it trendy European minimalism or bargain bin transport? The answer changed every ad cycle. Global sales dipped 11% last year, so Stellantis must decide whether to keep funding a U.S. experiment that lost its novelty. And that brings us to the steepest fall of them all, a one-time powerhouse now scraping by on half its former market share. Nissan, the Titan, teetering on the brink. A decade ago, Nissan could credibly spar with Toyota and Honda for Japanese supremacy. Now, its U.S. operation is engineered for 8.5% share, but clings to 4.5%. Executives openly warn the company has 12 to 14 months of financial runway without drastic reforms. Problems start in the showroom. Rivals embraced hybrids, Nissan hesitated. The lineup feels dated, and tariff exposure looms because the company exports more Mexican-built vehicles to the United States than any other Japanese automaker. A proposed $60 billion merger with Honda collapsed, erasing what might have been a lifeline. 900,000 annual U.S. sales sound respectable until you remember Nissan once pushed far beyond 1 million. Each lost percentage point equals billions in potential revenue. If management cannot pivot fast, launching compelling hybrids, retooling plants, restoring consumer trust, Nissan risks a downward spiral that makes Mitsubishi's plight look mild. When the company that invented the Z car and the GTR faces an existential clock, you know the industry's tectonic plates are shifting. The road ahead. We have traveled from Maserati's dwindling exoticism to Nissan's ticking clock, passing Jaguar's silent showrooms, Alpha's maintenance nightmares, Mini's identity crisis, Chrysler's century-old struggle, Mitsubishi's vacant lots, and Fiat's forgotten comeback. 8 storied badges, 1 shared dilemma: evolve fast or vanish. So before you sign that purchase agreement, ask yourself a simple question. Will this car still have a future when the loan is paid off? Because the emblem on the hood is no longer a guarantee of longevity. Thanks for watching, and remember, in the auto world, survival is optional, but change is mandatory.